My name's Colin. I live in Bath in the southwest of England. This is my channel, the Yay, Nay or Meh channel, and today I will be doing a horror movie reaction for Longlegs, which I have been looking forward to for quite some time, and I have already prepared. I did pick up a Longlegs poster recently in my local little theatre. They sell their old posters in aid of the charity Refuge, or rather, for a £3 donation to Refuge, you can get a poster, which I take advantage of. And since I knew I was going to be doing Longlegs, I have got it, and let's just hope it's good so it stays up there for a while. But yes, I have been looking forward to this one for quite some time. I mean, I came across this film and I started hearing about it. I thought, Longlegs? Really? What's that all about? What's the point of that? But the buzz I started hearing about Longlegs really made me curious. And the people involved, I mean, after I did some research, the people involved in it are also really fascinating. So yes, this has been one I have been dying to do a reaction to for quite some time, and I have now got access to it on my home computer and want to do a reaction to it. Now, the director of this film is Oz Perkins, who is the son of Anthony Perkins of Psycho fame, which I always thought was somewhat remarkable. I mean, because I have been aware of him for some time, but by all accounts, including, it should be said, accounts from his own son, Osgood Perkins, Anthony Perkins was a queer man, albeit a conflicted queer man who was an advocate of an early form of conversion therapy. He did get married, he did have 2 children, and Elvis Perkins is a musician who provides the scores for all of his brother's films. Anthony Perkins did have a family, he did have 2 kids, and he did end up dying of AIDS. And Oz Perkins' mother was on one of the planes in 9/11. So, yeah, how much tragedy can one family contain? But yeah, I mean, I think Alfred Hitchcock knew how to exploit Anthony Perkins' persona and his mannerisms. And if you wanted to read Norman Bates as a queer character, you definitely could. And that was all there. Oz Perkins grew up in this environment. And his first IMDb credit is playing a young Norman Bates in Psycho 2, which did exist, as they made a gag about in Maxine recently.
Here we are. Do you know what this is? It's a motel from Psycho.
They filmed a sequel here a few years back, if you can believe it.
A serial killer disguised as an old woman. America was too prudish to ever see it coming.
But yes, as a child, Oz Perkins played a younger version of his father's character in Psycho 2, and then went on to have an okay career playing small roles in decent films in Hollywood in the 90s into the early 2000s.
Norman, I'm gonna show you what happens to bad little boys who poison their mothers. I'm gonna kill you.
I love that shirt! My first shirt for my new body, and you gave that shirt away? I can't believe you! I hate this life, and I hate you! You never do anything for me!
You haven't done anything but try to... Girls like me don't go out with losers like you. Let's get out of here. Excuse me. Why didn't you call me?
What?
We spent a beautiful night together, and then I never hear from you again?
I'm sorry?
Sorry for what? For breaking my heart or for giving me the greatest pleasure I've ever known and then just taking it away?
Both?
There are other ways to show your feelings, Lee. More conventional ways.
Secretary. Still the best mainstream cinema portrayal of kink, even 20 years later. I mean, it's a million times better than the abomination that is the 50 Shades movies, but yes, Secretary recommended if you haven't checked that one out. But yes, after this okay career in Hollywood as an actor, Oz Perkins really found his calling, really found his feet when he directed a series of horror movies. To this point, Oz Perkins has directed 3 horror movies: The Blackcoat's Daughter, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, and Gretel and Hansel. Now, The Blackcoat's Daughter, which here in the UK was released under the much more generic title of February. Honestly, I don't think either title is particularly good for that film, but it's a very low budget horror film set in a girls' boarding school over winter break, and bad things happen to the girls who are left behind over Christmas break. Actually, thinking about it, it's a horror movie version of The Holdovers, isn't it? But yes, bad things happen to these girls in this boarding school over winter break. One of them being played by Kiernan Shipka, who is a very talented actress from Totally Killer. Or at least I know her from Totally Killer. She's in The Blackcoat's Daughter / February, and she's apparently also in this, which is pretty cool. I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House is a film very, very much about atmosphere. It's largely a one-handed film, arguably, with the brilliant actress Ruth Wilson being a caregiver, a palliative caregiver to an authoress who is in the last stages of life. And she gets haunted by the presences in this house, one of whom is played by Lucy Boynton, the other girl from The Blackcoat's Daughter. Atmosphere and not much else, in my opinion. Wasn't a big fan of I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, but I am a really, really big fan of Gretel and Hansel, which, yes, is very, very stylized. The art direction, the costume design, the whole aesthetic of Gretel and Hansel is very, very specific and very, very unusual. And if you can get on board with that, I really, really did like Gretel and Hansel. I mean, a feminist retelling of the Hansel and Gretel myth, and has some really interesting points to say. So yes, I personally really did like Gretel and Hansel, although I appreciate that it might be too stylized for some people. And that brings us up to this film, Longlegs, directed by Oz Perkins, which stars Maika Monroe as an FBI agent who investigates some occult things which may be related to a cult or something led by Nicolas Cage or something along those lines. But I mean, I know enough that I don't want to watch it. And yeah, I mean, Maika Monroe is, I think, one of this generation's great scream queens. After that brilliant 1-2 punch in 2014 of The Guest and It Follows, she has maintained that and has more recent horror movies to her name in Watcher and Significant Other.
You killed my parents.
I did. Yes.
Frank, don't open the door!
What the fuck, Mom?
Irina. Irina. Irina! I heard yelling. I heard screaming from in here, okay? If we can just get the key. He's hurting her, okay? Can we get the key, please? Just open the door, please!
How did you know?
I saw where you took him. I found the cave. What the hell?
And apparently there's a sequel to It Follows in pre-production, according to IMDb. Really don't know how you can do a sequel to that film, but Maika Monroe is an actress I am a great admirer of. And then, of course, there's Nick Cage, who is one of the most fascinating figures in modern day acting, in modern day Hollywood. In fact, he's so fascinating that I went the extra mile and I've prepared a reasonably lengthy exploration of the career of Nicolas Cage.
You're Nick fucking... Whoa, Cage!
Similarly to Oz Perkins, you can definitely accuse Nicolas Cage of being a nepo baby, because he is a member of the Coppola clan. Francis Ford Coppola is his uncle, which makes Sofia and Roman Coppola his cousins, etc., etc., etc. But I heard a quote from the actor Linus Roach, who is the son of William Roach, who is a long-running soap actor here in the UK, very, very respected. And Linus Roach said, "Nepotism will give you your first break, but you need to be good in order to keep going." And arguably, Nicolas Cage has kept going and does deserve to do so. I mean, let's not forget, Nicolas Cage won an Oscar and was nominated for another as Best Leading Actor. I mean, he won for Leaving Las Vegas, and he was nominated for adaptation.
I want you to let me pay this month's rent.
No.
All right?
Why?
Because it's better for me that way, okay?
Okay.
I'll tell you right now, I'm in love with you.
Caroline had this great tattoo of a snake swallowing its own tail and...
Ouroboros.
I don't know what that means. The snake, it's called Ouroboros. I don't think so. But anyway, it's cool for my killer to have this modus operandi because at the end, when he forces the woman who's really him to eat herself, he's also eating himself to death.
I'm insane. I'm Ouroboros.
I don't know what that word means.
I've written myself into my screenplay.
That's kind of weird, huh?
It's self-indulgent. It's narcissistic. It's solipsistic. It's pathetic. I'm pathetic. I'm fat and pathetic.
And as quite often seems to happen with the Oscars, I think they got that the other way around. They got it the wrong way around. I don't think he deserved the Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas. That year, I definitely would have picked Sean Penn in Dead Man Walking. I think he was a better acting performance in adaptation, but that year he actually lost to Adrian Brody in The Pianist, and fair enough, that's, I think, an excellent performance as well. But yes, he can be a really impressive, even a great actor. But all too often, particularly over recent years, he sometimes gets away from himself. He sometimes goes for the extravagant, for the flamboyant, and that has kind of become his stock in trade. Take this notorious example.
Oh, yeah. No, don't move me! Ah! What is it? 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 Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Oh, my eyes! My eyes! Ah! Ah!
And yes, even in a reasonably mainstream film like that, he still goes for the back of the house. I mean, that was just a bad idea all round. I mean, not only remaking The Wicker Man, which did not need remaking, but giving it to Neil LaBute, the guy who did In the Company of Men, that guy doing The Wicker Man, starring Nicolas Cage. Who thought any of that was a good idea? But anyway, particularly over recent years, Nicolas Cage has become known for that kind of flamboyance, that kind of excess, which is certainly been exacerbated by the fact that over recent years, even recent decades, he has had severe problems with the taxman, which meant that he needed to constantly keep working, just accepting absolutely everything, churning them out, getting paid, getting the taxman off his back. I mean, it's part of this pattern that for a few years he owned a castle here in the UK, here in England. Actually, not that far from where I live in Bath, in Somerset. It's about 40 kilometres away from where I live. He bought a castle and then had to sell it to deal with his tax problems. Now, depending on who you believe, either his business manager went way out of control and just started spending, or Nicolas Cage got out of control, spending. Either way, it doesn't really matter. But he really needed to make money, so he accepted absolutely anything that would pay him. The kinds of films that are very, very low budget, but they've got just enough to cast Nicolas Cage. He shows up for a few days' work, they can put him on the poster and they can sell the movie. I mean, it's a pattern that many, many actors have done over recent years. I mean, until Bruce Willis's recent unfortunate health issues, he was doing the similar thing. Lance Henriksen's another one who just churns them out. And you can put them on the poster and get paid. And fair play to him. I mean, that's how he works. That's how he wants to work. But he's still got that artistic side to him. Or still seems to, anyway. And as recently as 2021, Nicolas Cage put in another performance in a low-budget independent film, which I genuinely think was Oscar-worthy. I thought he was absolutely brilliant in the independent movie Pig.
They're not real. You get that, right? None of it is real. The critics aren't real. The customers aren't real. Because this isn't real. You aren't real.
Okay.
Derek, why do you care about these people? They don't care about you. None of them. They don't even know you. Because you haven't shown them.
And his performance in Pig, as I said, I think is genuinely brilliant. I think it was genuinely worthy of an Oscar, or certainly a serious Oscar consideration. But it was a small independent film. didn't really have the wherewithal to put a proper campaign in. But yeah, he still, when he wants to be, can be a great actor. But really soon after this, after Pig, in 2022, he did something which I honestly really, really respect him for. I mean, he knows what his public persona is. He knows the types of memes, the bees. I mean, that's a meme now. He knows what people think of him, how people approach him. So why not lean into it, and why not make a film which is flamboyant and excessive and exaggerated, and he's playing himself and a younger version of himself with, frankly, bad de-aging makeup, but he's still playing against himself and still reveling in his public persona and the public perception of him as a performer, as an actor, in the film which has one of the greatest titles of recent years, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
I'm happy for you because honestly, man, you really need this. What? What is that supposed to mean? You get it. This could be a game changer. I don't need a game changer. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'll just keep working. That's what I do. So I'm just saying you could be a little more strategic. Make more movie star choices. It's like Miles Davis told me.
Sometimes it's the notes you don't play.
Miles Davis was a heroin addict. I mean, I love him. He was a maestro, but I'm happy. I'm healthy when I'm working. I'm an actor. No, you're a fucking movie star, and don't you ever forget that. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need this. Get out of my car. Nikki, get out of my car. I don't need this.
Addie wants to borrow your belt.
Oh, yeah, I do.
It's like, it looks like it's got some weight.
Well, yeah, it's a big fat tarantula. Well, you know my dresser, Jeff. Mr. Neiman Marcus, he wanted me to wear a bee, and I said, Jeff, not the bees, not the bees.
And I feel like pointing out at this point that most of Nicolas Cage's many wives over the years have been of East Asian heritage and look nothing like Sharon Horgan. But I did want to put that bit in there because he knows who he is, and saying the bees, in just that casual way in this parody of himself. I've got to respect him for that. I've got to respect somebody who is self-aware enough to not only acknowledge his public persona, but make fun of his own public persona. And that's exactly what he did in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is a pretty good film, but I do respect him for doing it in the first place. And then he had another incredibly excessive flamboyant role where he was clearly having so much fun in the film Renfield.
Some call me the Dark One. Others, the Lord of Death. However, to most, I am known simply as...
Renfield's boss!
I am Dracula.
And then swung back the other way and had a film which was very art house, very surreal, was getting a little bit of Oscar buzz, and Nicolas Cage, was getting a little bit of Oscar buzz for the bizarre film Dream Scenario, in which an ordinary, schlubby professor at a small northeastern university suddenly, for no discernible reason, starts showing up in other people's dreams. People who've never met him before, but they're dreaming about this one specific guy, and everybody all over the world is doing it. I mean, it's a bizarre situation. But Nicolas Cage played it really, really well.
Let me start with this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't address this earlier. I'm sorry to anyone who's had one of those terrible, terrible nightmares. The reason why I'm so emotionally distressed right now is because I had one myself. I've experienced what so many of you must have experienced. Being violently attacked and abused by a man who looks like me. I have to stress that man is not me.
And we're continuing the trend moving on into next year, because this year's Cannes Film Festival, the 2024 Cannes Film Festival, Nicolas Cage starred in a film called The Surfer, which is also going to be playing in a couple of weeks' time at time of recording at the London Film Festival. And apparently at Cannes, it got a very extensive standing ovation. So maybe this is another pitch for Nicolas Cage to get an Oscar nomination. But yeah, I mean, he's gone for the prestige in this film coming out next year, The Surf.
Dude, that's my board, and I want it back.
Mate, I think you've been out in the sun too long.
They took it from me last night. They threatened me with a broken bottle.
Why don't you take a drink of water?
I don't want anything from you. I want my board.
So you're saying they took this from you last night?
Was I not clear?
So yeah, Nicolas Cage contains multitudes. He is the film star, the movie star, with the flamboyance, the excess, the wildness that we can accuse Nicolas Cage of. But he's also, even if he doesn't want to admit it to himself, I mean, that bit I played from the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, that's not the only time that he says, I'm a movie star, not an actor. But he is an actor. He can do it. And from everything I know about Longlegs, and as I've said, I don't know a massive amount about Longlegs, but I suspect that this is going to be the wild and crazy Nicolas Cage. So, yeah, I'm here for it. So, yeah, I mean, Nicolas Cage and Maika Monroe, two actors I really respect, being directed by Oz Perkins, another director I really respect. And the buzz was good. So, yes, I really do want to get on and start watching Longlegs. So, without further ado, let's get on to the reaction for the movie Longlegs. T-Rex quote to start. Curious. We're also messing with the aspect ratio. It's squeezed in, which is something that he did in Gretel and Hansel. He's also got a thing about snow. The whole point of The Blackcoat's Daughter was it was winter, and there were significant snow scenes in I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House as well. A little bit in Gretel and Hansel, but not much. But yeah, he's got a thing about snow. Now, is this her father, or is this a stranger? Either way, it's creepy as fuck. What the fuck?
There she is. The almost birthday girl. Oh, but it seems I wore my long legs today. What happens if I...
What? That was Nicolas Cage. That was Nicolas Cage's voice, but was it prosthetics?
Okay, well, I am good to be the one who goes up and knocks if you want to be the one who hangs back. Harker, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh yeah, I also noticed that Maika Monroe's character name is Harker. Jonathan Harker? Dracula? That has to be deliberate, surely. Now, I can't work out if that male officer or agent was being polite or condescending, saying, I'll go and do the knocking.
Okay.
It's that one.
What's what one?
3525.
Yay, she's got The Shining.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. We should call it in.
What? No. No, we're not going to call it a hunch on our first day out doing this.
Oh, first day? Alright, so now my bet is that the male agent or officer, I think they're FBI, but he's going to end up dead if it's their first day. And possibly given Osgood Perkins die in a grisly and horrible way.
Hi there. Hi, so if you take a look at that for me.
What the fuck? Yeah, called it. But just a bullet to the face. Plastic sheeting does a lot of heavy lifting in a lot of horror movies.
Can someone tell me what I'm doing here?
Special Agent Lee Harker, are you ready to begin?
Ready to begin what?
State the first word that comes to mind to accompany each image. Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
What, they think she's a replicant? Because that's basically what we're going on here.
You're watching television. Suddenly you realize there's a wasp crawling on your arm.
I'd kill it.
You're reading a magazine. You come across a full-page nude photo of a girl.
Is this testing whether I'm a replicant or a lesbian, Mr. Deckard?
Just answer the questions, please.
A number has been generated between 0 and 100 inclusive. What is the number?
I don't know. 33?
Oh, are they testing if she's psychic?
I need to talk to someone about my beautiful mariners.
Okay, they're in Seattle.
Well, my wife's getting pretty good at faking.
Makes sense if it was filmed in Canada.
That's a slippery slope.
If they film in Vancouver, they usually set it in Seattle. I mean, it's the same movies, TV shows. Regularly happen.
You beat that numbers generator 8 times. How'd you do that?
I also missed it 8 times.
Oh, that's Blair Underwood.
Half-psychic
Yeah.
is better than not psychic at all, I'd say.
So the FBI are just accepting that she's kinda psychic. Okay. Standing on the shoulders of giants like Fox Mulder.
A letter was left with the bodies, written in a coded alphabet and not in the hand of anyone in any way connected to the families. So
Oh yeah, the
there's 10
Zodiac's
letters
back.
like it.
Oh,
They look
nice.
the same, 10 houses, 10 families over the past 30 years.
Oh yeah, the Wall of
Your version
Crazy.
What happened in Colfax with the shooting of Agent Fisk?
I mean, just the pictures on the wall with the red pieces of
Target
string.
sensor. It's like something tapping me on the shoulder.
It doesn't look like
telling me where
there's
to look.
red string, but still, that's, you know,
You identified
the
a
psychopath Wall of Crazy, another
No
standard
prior
trope
knowledge, no
of
real indication that it was any way different than all the cookie
this
cutters
kind of
all
thing.
around it.
Was that Clinton?
Anything like that ever happened to you before, Agent Harker? All the victim families have daughters whose birthdays are on the 14th of any given month.
Okay.
But only the Horns were actually murdered on that date. Get to work.
Oh, and that thing that happened at the beginning, which I'm guessing the little girl in the opening, in the pre-credit thing, was her. And Longlegs came up to her, said, "Almost birthday girl."
When she's sleeping, it's the best time to do it.
Do what?
When her eyes are closed.
Sir, can you stay on the line with me? Sir? Hello? Can you stay on the line? Sir?
So the fathers are going crazy and planning on killing their daughters, who were all born on the 14th. Very specific. Am I?
Harker.
Yeah, it's
such a thing
another
as looking too
cliche to
long.
have it all sort of arranged in front of you as well as on the wall.
I must have lost track of time.
All right, Harker. Get to come meet my wife and kid.
Sir. Do I have to?
Yeah.
Yeah, she seems very detached. I mean, are we talking somewhere on the spectrum? Or just reserved, introvert?
Hey, there she is.
Or something that happened to her
Say goodnight.
when she was a kid.
Do you want to see my room?
I don't think she does. But social niceties, the patterns of human behaviour.
Is it scary being a lady FBI agent?
Ask Clarice Starling.
Yeah, it is.
Who's she calling at this hour?
Yes. Hello?
Hi, Mom.
Don't forget, I was a nurse for 8 years. Saw more than my fair share of nasty stuff.
Yeah, but even so.
I think I just need to be quiet for a little bit.
Somebody's birthday coming up.
What is it with the birthdays? It's going to be relevant, isn't it? Okay, who's knocking at the door past midnight? If there's something creepy in the woods, don't go towards it. Oh, there's somebody in the cabin. Well, that's what it looked like at least. Do not open until January 14th. So I'm guessing that's her birthday. And she's going to open it anyway. Oh, but that looks like a legend. Something to decipher it with.
Friends assume they're gone, so don't bother to check in on them. Found plane tickets for Los Angeles and reservations for Disneyland. Sounds like a nice idea.
And the girl's birthday was the 14th?
Seems like it. How'd you figure that out?
I only looked long enough, sir.
So she's not going to tell him about the message she got. That seems unsustainable, but...
How long ago? I'd say about a month.
Jesus.
A month? Shit.
Okay. Let's take a look.
Are you sure she...
Yeah, she's good. You're good, aren't you, Harker? Pull it.
No, but in a way that is probably okay for this situation.
Mom, are you still there?
Be careful they don't work you too hard, all right?
Yeah, but it's good. It's really good. They put me on something important.
Yeah? What is it?
Well, I can't tell you. You wouldn't want to hear about it anyways.
Not nice things.
I don't think the Bureau has a division for nice things.
Yeah, that's an understatement. But yeah, there's some weird tension between mother and daughter. I mean, that's going to be explained at some point as well.
Are you still saying your prayers?
Yeah, listen, I gotta go.
Lee, honey, our prayers protect us from the devil.
Oh yeah, she's religious too.
I know, Mom.
Oh, Oregon. Okay. Well, actually, that still makes sense for the Seattle Mariners baseball team. Oregon doesn't have a Major League Baseball team. Oh, it's some kind of witch's sigil or something. It's one of those things, it's layers upon layers upon layers of pattern.
And it's Carrie Ann. She's still alive?
Water Rock Psychiatric Hospital.
It's not far from here.
132 miles, sir.
And the old farm?
89.
Let's start there.
Right, so all of this is related to a murder or a massacre in, 1966, I think she said. So this has been going on for a very, very long time. I mean, it's probably, in that case, it's probably not human, it's probably demonic or something. I mean, given that this is a horror film with a character who seems to be psychic. Oh yeah, just roll up to a deserted farmhouse in the middle of the night. Nothing bad's going to happen here. And there's a stalker.
It's over there.
A crucifix nailed to the floor of a bar. Yeah, this doesn't seem good. A smiley face. Okay. Oh, it's Anakin. Right. Oh, is that Nicolas Cage again? Still listening to T-Rex.
That gross guy is back again.
Oh, this is a regular thing. So yeah, that was probably another victim, maybe. Nicolas Cage, ladies and gentlemen. That might quite possibly be the most Nicolas Cage scene I've ever seen.
Then yesterday, she gets a visitor, and I've never seen that happen either. And like someone flipped a switch on the back of her head, and all of a sudden, she's right there. Wide awake, eyes bright.
You saw this visitor?
No, I wasn't on site at the time, unfortunately. But the log should say.
I bet it says Longlegs. Oh, Lee Harker. Okay, interesting.
Does the guard check IDs?
Well, it does sound like a good idea, but no. No, we do not require that.
So, anybody can just wander into a mental institution? Great idea.
It's like a long dream. And so dark. A world of dark.
That's Kid and Shipka.
Like a nowhere between here and there. What's that called?
And if this is going where it looks like it's going, it's not dissimilar to the Blackcoat's Daughter / February. And I thought that they said that that Carrie Ann was in 1966. I obviously misunderstood that.
Papa was a good man. That's something I remember good.
What's with the fucking doll? Well, that's a way to make an entrance.
Do you remember having a doll? A special doll that looked just like you?
Nope. And you don't remember neither. You dirty, flirty old angel bitch.
So, yeah, the doll's definitely significant. Yeah, Kid and Shipka does do an interesting line in really psychotic, really bad characters. That whole scene was very, very similar to what she does in The Blackcoat's Daughter / February.
She came out of her catatonia the same day we found the doll.
Yeah, that could be anything but a coincidence. Look, we opened the ball.
Yeah, but it's not a coincidence, is it? So, right, so, how old was she when her family was massacred? Because if they're saying it's 20-odd years, I mean, Kid and Shipka's not that old.
In some cultures, dolls are used in magic to control people.
So he kills them with a doll from
Yay,
somewhere else.
voodoo.
By what? Remote control? Longlegs is just a man, Harker, not a witch doctor.
He probably is, given this is a horror movie. But... So, alright. Blair Underwood at this point is willing to accept that the woman he's working with has psychic abilities, but he's not willing to accept voodoo or whatever it's called.
What aren't you telling me?
Be much better if you... admit it, or
When was the
better
last
for you in
time
the
you
long
talked to your
term.
mother? She called on a police report. January 13th, 1974. That's one day before your 9th birthday. That makes your birthday the 14th.
She did?
She did.
Oh. I was assuming that she did remember it. She apparently doesn't, or is at least pretending to Blair Underwood that she doesn't remember it.
You go see your mother and tell me what she says about the person who came to your house when you were a kid. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, maybe it would also be a good idea to search for a lifelike doll? Just saying.
Do you still say your prayers?
No, Mom. I never said my prayers, never once.
Never. Okay. Yeah, I mean, but a parrot's belief structure is often not the same as a child's belief structure.
What's so funny?
You're right. No, our prayers don't help us. Prayers don't do a goddamn thing.
Let me make you something to eat.
So yeah, I mean, the mother is clearly struggling, but was this already happening, or was that something that was caused by her Lee's interactions with Longlegs?
Do you remember my 9th birthday?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
don't
she's
remember anything,
lying.
do you?
Oh, and she's making sure that her daughter doesn't remember either.
What happened that day?
No.
Yeah, I think the time has come
What
for
do you mean,
truths
no?
to be revealed.
You're not a child because you were allowed to grow up.
Allowed?
This is a cruel world. Especially for the little things. Not all of them are allowed to live.
What are you talking about?
I might have forgotten everything I possibly could. For both of our sakes. But I never threw anything away. All of your things. It's all in your room.
So she's not willing to tell, but willing to let her discover for himself, maybe? There's also a bit of hoarding going on there with all the junk up the stairs. What is that? A stack of... Oh, it's a stack of Polaroids tied together with ribbon. That's probably not a good combination. What is she about to discover? Or remember? Recover, maybe. Yeah. Oh, she took the pirates. That's...
Excuse me. Who are you and why are you talking to my kid?
Let me in now, and it can be nice. Make me go now, and I have to come back. Not once, not twice, but as many times as I like.
You're just singing at them? I mean, what? And again, very, very Nicolas Cage.
You sure you want to start a manhunt with this?
I'm sure.
just another one of those balls with that brain. Those long legs making the doll.
Sir, I'm gonna need you to get down on the fucking ground.
So they caught him pretty easily.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lee Harker.
It goes on like that for a while.
For how long?
24 minutes.
So how did they catch him? Did they just...
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, with 7 heads and 10 horns. And on his horns he wore 10
Okay, when
crowns.
somebody starts quoting
On
the
each
Book of
head was written
Revelations, that's
blasphemous name.
never a
Book
good
of
sign.
Revelations, isn't it?
Revelation. There's no S, it's singular. But you don't work alone, do you? Someone's been helping you. An accomplice.
I think the accomplice is the devil.
Farmhouse door. A nice lady with a Bible and a congratulations! You have been selected.
January 13th, 1974, right?
And then when house number 8 was so white, whiter than a fish's throat, whiter than tits, I knew then that the work we were doing was immaculate.
But your work's over. It's done.
Yeah, I don't think it
For
is.
the rest of your life. Who's been helping you?
Well, I'll let you get started now.
Who is the man downstairs?
I think we all know who the man downstairs is. I mean, we're talking about the devil.
Why don't you ask your mommy?
My mother doesn't know anything.
And for another thing, how is she still an active part of the investigation where she's clearly part of it? Oh! Okay! Yeah, I think maybe she's going to have to answer some questions about why she didn't step in. Because that's not the easiest way to commit suicide.
How do you want to do this?
I should go in alone. I'll tell her we need to bring her in for questioning. That we think she could help us identify the accomplice.
All right. I'll stay right here.
Yeah, but I mean, that's really not where this is going, is it? I mean, her mother's gonna give some revelation. Maybe even literally the Book of Revelation. Oh, or unless her mother's the accomplice.
Mom?
A nice lady going up to the front door and saying, here's some religious stuff. Was that... Did her mother literally make a deal with the devil? I mean, leave my daughter alone and I'll help you. Maybe that's why she's crazy. Oh, yeah, in the background. Oh, no.
Mom?
Oh, not the shotgun. Oh, okay. And there's the poster image from. I think you can. Actually, I don't think you can see that given the lights, but that's the poster. And so with that car in the barn that's covered with a tarp, that's going to be significant. Oh, and that's her lifelike doll.
You got him. It's okay, Mom. It's okay. It's done now.
No, it really isn't.
Baby girl.
And yeah, that's. I still don't know what's going on with these dolls, but now the doll's brain has been destroyed, so whatever's happened is not happening anymore. Or I don't think it's happening anymore. Yeah, very white house, which is what Nicolas Cage was talking about.
The doll maker started his work. His terrible magic. The work of the devil. With a little bit of him in everyone. The doll made the little girl forget. So her mother begged for the little girl's life to be spared. In exchange, she would have to help him.
Oh yeah, she did make a deal with the devil.
She had once been a nurse. Now her work would be murdering families. And from his hiding place within the dolls, the devil did the rest. All her mother had to do was watch and make sure it happened the way he wanted it to.
Okay, this is so fucked up. Agreeing to facilitate and cause the deaths of dozens of families just for your own daughter to survive. I suppose there are mothers who would do that, but that's still fucked up. I mean, it's interesting setting this in the 90s, so, you know, landline telephones are still a thing. But who's calling? Is it Blair Underwood? Oh, Blair Underwood's daughter. Is she now part of it? Has she been taken over, consumed? Oh no, that is his car with the...
Hey, Harker, you made it.
Hi there, Harker. It's really nice that you came.
Oh god, it's already happened.
Yeah, of course, everything's great.
Yeah,
they're just in
they're
time because Mr.
to
Beach just
Stepford.
brought in a present.
Come, sit. Sit.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they're the fucking doll.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've forgotten your name. I'm a terrible, terrible, terrible hostess.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just a friend of a friend.
Yeah, but she's still doing it even though Longlegs is dead.
The woman is already dead. And the little girl will be next.
Anna, would you like to join me in the kitchen, honey?
I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
Alright.
No, I'll be right
Blow
back.
the fucking doll's head
I'll
off.
still be in the kitchen.
Can't hurt, and I think that's how you get out of this. Destroying the thing that's in the doll's head.
And I'll do it until I stand upon the sand of the sea, and I see a beast rise up out of the sea.
I mean, again, the inaction, I mean, she's just standing there as Blair Underwood is clearly killing his wife in the next room. I mean,
Carter, stop!
Move away from the girl.
Mom, please.
Don't come in!
didn't think they'd go that far. For the love of God, destroy the doll's head. How many bullets did I fire? Do you feel lucky?
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track myself. But Ian, this is a .44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Ruby, let's go.
It's not going to help though. I'm pretty sure you need to destroy that doll's head. Yeah. And at this point, that's where we end it. That's ambiguous. But yeah, I mean, it's like having the supernatural, the demonic aspects, the unexplained. I mean, it's sort of like Fox Mulder meets Clarice Starling, because she is sort of like the young female agent on her first case, and maybe over her head. Well, she is over her head, and not knowing what to do. And just standing there as Longlegs just smashed his head against the table, and standing there doing nothing as Blair Underwood just killed and stabbed his wife in the kitchen. And from my perspective, having that doll still intact suggests that maybe the little girl, Blair Underwood's daughter, she's still under the influence. I mean, as Keenan Shipka was in the mental hospital, and once the doll was dismantled and destroyed, I mean, she came out of whatever had happened to her. I mean, yes, she ended up killing herself, but Actually, why did she do that? But I mean, it was the key was to get that brain, whatever it was, out of the doll. So we need to do the same thing with that doll. Surely we need to do the same thing with that doll. I mean, yes, all right, you can't shoot it because apparently your revolver's run out of bullets. I mean, how many shots did she fire? But regardless of that, just get a fucking hammer. I mean, felt like there might be a post-credit scene, but evidently not. But, so yeah, that was a lot of my initial thoughts over the end credits there. I think what's happened here is my expectation was too high. I mean, I've been hearing for weeks now, even months, that, oh, this is, one of the scariest movies ever. It's really good. It's got all these weird and crazy things to it. And devil worship, I mean, literal the devil, as in, Book of Revelation, the devil. That's what you've got for us? I mean, the idea of, a doll maker, I mean, I think dolls, or particularly that type of doll, with the porcelain heads and things like that, I mean, that type of doll has become a shortcut, a recognised scary thing. I mean, I think Annabelle is the obvious example from recent vintage of that type of scary doll. Yeah, I mean, the doll has become a recognised trope for scares, for a frightening aspect, or a creepy thing. And having a doll maker imbue these dolls, these lifelike, almost human-sized dolls, with the devil. Oh yeah, that's an interesting idea. I mean, not a bad plan. Having the twist that Maika Monroe's mother was in on it. Was it Alicia Witt? Yeah, Alicia Witt, who's not... Doesn't she spend most of the time doing Hallmark movies nowadays? But anyway, I mean, it was an interesting twist having that happen, having it be the mother who was in on it, or at least became in on it. I mean, in order to save my daughter, I will do absolutely anything, and that includes facilitating the massacre of dozens of families. I will do that for the sake of my daughter, which I think is a little excessive as far as mothering goes. But it was an interesting twist. But having the solution be the devil, I mean, I feel a little let down by that. And also, I feel a little... Well, I mean, it's probably unfair to criticise, but I can't help feeling that if Maika Monroe had been a little bit more proactive at the end, then maybe not quite so many people would have died. I mean, maybe the female agent, Michelle Choi Lee, maybe Blair Underwood's wife, Carmel Amit. I mean, she just stood... I mean, and Longlegs himself. I mean, certainly for Longlegs and Mrs. Carter, she just stood there and let the deaths happen. I mean, yes, trauma, shock. I do kind of get that, but just a little bit more proactive, I think, would have benefited. I think that's quite possibly the most Nick Cage performance I've seen in many, many years. He doesn't often go that off the wall, but he certainly did in this case. I think the last time I saw him go absolutely crazy was Colour Out of Space, which is not a great movie and was directed by an absolute shithead, but yeah, I mean, that is, I think, the most Nick Cage performance I've ever seen. I get the impression that Oz Perkins just said, go. Just do what you like. I mean, go as outlandish as you want, go as extravagant as you want. Just do it. And boy, did Nick Cage do it. I mean, that is... I'm honestly not sure that there's any actor working at the moment who could have given that performance in that way in that film. And I think that's why you go to somebody like Nick Cage is for that extravagance. I mean, as well as having some genuine acting talent. I mean, like I said, I think he at least deserved a nomination at the Oscars for Pig. I think that was an exceptional performance. And that was only 3 years ago. And his new film got a standing ovation at Cannes. So when he wants to do it, properly, he can. It's just that most of the time he goes absolutely batshit insane. And that was definitely a batshit insane performance. If you could call it a performance, I mean, yeah. A happening, maybe, is what Nick Cage was doing in that film. But, yeah. Interesting setting it in the 90s. Having the young Lee in the 70s and then an adult Lee in the 90s. Also, I think possibly making that connection to Clarice Starling a bit stronger. I think that's what Oz Perkins was doing. I mean, I really do think it's Clarice Starling meets Fox Mulder. Interesting choice. Interesting choice that the flashbacks were done in the narrower aspect ratio than the present day, which is exactly the same thing he did in Gretel and Hansel. I mean, when we have the flashbacks into the youth of the witch played by Alice Creed, then it's narrower aspect ratio, and then when we have the present day with Sophia Lillis and female empowerment, that's it in the wider more cinematic. Yeah, I mean, interestingly directed, certainly interestingly acted. I mean, Nicolas Cage going wild and crazy. Maika Monroe, a good performance. So, I mean, as I said, I think a little bit too passive for my taste. It's not really the kind of film with a final girl, so to speak. But if we do class Maika Monroe as the final girl, I think she did a piss poor job. I really think she is at least partially culpable for at least 4 of the deaths at the end of that film. Yeah. And letting the doll be, I mean, I think there's some genuine ambiguity over the final scene there, that the doll might survive or might be intact, which I think is a terrible idea, because history has shown, particularly with what happened to Kin and Shipka in the mental hospital, that if that doll remains intact, bad things are going to happen and continue to happen. So destroy that little grey sphere in the head of the doll. It needs to be done. And letting it lie like that, I mean, is that something that Maika Monroe intends? Is that something she wants now? Is she going to take on her mother's legacy? I think there's a reading of the film that you could say that she in allowing that doll to still exist, or at least the grey sphere in the head of the doll, is she allowing the bad things to happen? Is she allowing the devil to come forward? I think you can read it that way. But, I mean, she's clearly gone through some shit. I mean, she's just had to shoot her boss and her mum within quick succession. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some ambiguity as to just how dark it's going to get once the credits have finished rolling. I mean, I do think there's a possibility of an end credit sequence, but apparently not. So yeah, I can't think of anything else to say. So let's wrap this up. And on these reaction videos, I do give a rating of yay, nay, or meh. This is the yay, nay, or meh channel. Yay, possibly one of the best films of the year, highly recommended. Rush to the cinema or the Google Play Store or whatever it is in order to watch it. Nay, everything from mildly disappointing to absolutely terrible, avoid at all costs. Meh is everything in the middle. Most films end up being a meh. And I think that's what I'm going to give Longlegs. I think I'm going to give this a meh. I mean, as I said at the beginning of this outro, I think it was probably built up a little bit too much in my head. I was expecting too much from it, maybe. But I was a little bit unsatisfied with the directions it went. I mean, having the literal devil be the conclusion where we were heading, not a big fan of that. I do think that Maika Monroe was a little bit too passive, particularly in that final scene. I don't think the mythology of what Longlegs and Maika Monroe's mother were actually doing, I think that was sprung a little bit too quickly on us at the end. I want a little bit more detail, a little bit more context for what they were doing. I think that could have been done better. So yeah, I mean, good but not great. I mean, an exceptionally wacky performance from Nicolas Cage. I mean, like I said, quite possibly the most Nicolas Cage performance I've ever seen. I mean, decent performance from Maika Monroe as well, albeit a little bit passive. And yeah, I think it's a solid meh. I mean, I had a decent enough time watching it. It certainly wasn't as gory or as extreme as Oz Perkins can sometimes get. I mean, there's scenes, particularly in The Black Coat's Daughter, which are just really, really out there. But in terms of gore and viscera. But not so much here. Yeah, I mean, I think a solid, entertaining, possibly doesn't deserve quite so much hype, or is not as much hype as it seems to have got. So yeah, I think a meh is the right rating for Longlegs. If you have watched this far into the video, maybe I deserve a like. Consider liking, subscribing. There's plenty of other horror movie reactions. I've recently done Maxine, I Saw the TV Glow, In a Violent Nature. There's various other things. I do TV reactions for Charmed and the Owl House at the moment. I do a lot of queer content. That gets a lot of clicks. So yeah, maybe have a look around, consider subscribing. But in the meantime, I think this is where I leave you. And all that remains for me to say is this has been a presentation of the Yay, Nay, or Meh channel. And I will see you next time where I shine a light on TV and cinema, both obvious and obscure.